Tension escalated on July 23rd, when Madison decided to face the truth. The instincts of a doctor and her experience with the tangled stories of Beyond the Gates urged her to speak out. Inside Madison, a struggle between reason and emotion was constantly raging. She understood that just one ill-considered warning could destroy her relationship with Chelsea. But if she remained silent, Madison could lose everything. The choice became harder than ever. Should Madison warn Chelsea about Allison's antics and shady intentions, or protect herself by withdrawing from this emotional game before things spiraled out of control? After listening to Madison's advice, Chelsea began to suspect Allison's motives more deeply. Allison's meetings, gestures of affection, and care for Chelsea increasingly bore signs of coercion, even a subtle emotional manipulation. Someone who once loved sincerely like Chelsea could not have imagined she would become the target of such a calculated charade. Yet, pity and guilt continued to bind her. Deep down, Chelsea also knew that Allison might not be completely innocent. She sensed something vague, as if a mist was shrouding every memory, every faded emotion left between the two. Meanwhile, Madison was increasingly tormented by jealousy and helplessness in the current situation. She found herself at a crossroads, where a single misstep could mean losing the one she loved or becoming entangled in a web of lies with no escape. Beyond the Gates was never just a peaceful town. Secrets, pain, and schemes intertwined, creating a dense web where no one could tell what was real and what was fake. Allison might truly be a victim of domestic abuse, but she could also be a master manipulator, exploiting others' weaknesses for her own ends. Her presence not only turned Chelsea's life upside down, but also forced Madison to choose between reason and heart. As night fell over Beyond the Gates, each person had to face their own fear. Chelsea was afraid she was trapped between two worlds. One was the past with Allison, the other was the present with Madison. Madison feared losing love, feared being manipulated, and feared that just a minor mistake could make her the next victim of an even bigger conspiracy. As for Allison, behind her mask of weakness, she was perhaps the most dangerous. Someone willing to do anything to reclaim what she believed was hers. In the following days, every action, word, and emotion of each person was placed under a lens of suspicion. Chelsea had to learn to trust her instincts, not let pity and the past dictate her every decision. Madison had to fight with herself, searching for the truth and protecting what she valued. As for Allison, whether victim or mastermind, she had become the center of a chain of irreversible events, where anyone could become a pawn in her own game of power and emotion. In the stifling atmosphere of Beyond the Gates, amid the sickly yellow hospital lights and the darkness lurking in the hallways, one big question remained unanswered. What was the real truth behind Allison's injury? And who was truly the victim in this psychological game? Only time, along with the difficult choices ahead, could reveal the secrets hidden deep in each soul, where the line between love, hatred, and deceit was so thin that even a small event could destroy everything built on faith. On the other side of town, as news of the altercation between Leslie and Nicole spread, the atmosphere in the Beyond the Gates community became more suffocating than ever. Leslie, always clever and opportunistic, immediately saw potential in the bruises on her neck and arms. The clash with Nicole Richardson was not just a momentary fit of anger, but opened a new path for Leslie to pursue her long-held ambitions. By exaggerating her injuries, Leslie hoped to use others' sympathy, especially Ted's, and turn the incident into financial leverage against Nicole and the entire Dupree family, whom she believed held the real power in town. Deep inside, Leslie understood that a wound, if retold with enough tears and drama, could become a passport bringing her closer to the Dupree secrets and winning the sympathy of Ted, the man who once made her heart flutter but now stood on the edge between loyalty and personal feelings. Nicole, after her brief outburst, was still stunned by what she had done. She never expected to reveal her weakness so easily when Leslie brought up her past with Ted. Bitterness and anxiety lingered in Nicole's eyes, for she knew that just a small mistake could destroy both her fragile honor and her shaky relationship with Ted. Moreover, The guilt of having strangled Leslie haunted Nicole, making it impossible for her to stay calm, especially as Leslie seemed ready to use this to push her to the brink. Ted, as a man who had loved both women, found himself in an impossible position. He did not want to believe Leslie was exploiting her injuries, but what happened was too clear to ignore. Deep down, Ted feared everything he had tried to preserve for years could collapse overnight. In the midst of Nicole's resentment, his pity for Leslie, and the pressure from the Dupree family, Ted realized he no longer had control as he once did. He himself was swept up in the swirl of power and deception that defined the town, a place where no one was truly friend or enemy, only temporary alliances built on personal gain and secrets not yet revealed. Meanwhile, more news from the police station made things even tenser. Jacob, a devoted police officer, knew every act of violence in Beyond the Gates came with layers of deceit and manipulation. On July 23rd, he was given an official task: to interrogate a family member, someone closely linked to the mysterious death of Kenny, an event that had unsettled the foundations of underground power in the town for weeks. The public buzzed with speculation, all trying to guess who Jacob would target next, knowing that the truth was lurking somewhere in the shadows. Bill Hamilton had ordered it, while Marcel Malone was the one who actually pulled the trigger, ending Kenny's life in a tightly orchestrated scheme. Jacob approached the case with his usual caution, piecing together fragments from testimony, glances, and the hesitation of every member of the Dupree family. He knew that touching a single weak spot could topple the entire domino chain of power and deceit. Even the choice of whom to question first was a tactic. If he targeted someone too weak, he'd get nothing but evasive denials. But if he chose someone too cunning, all crucial evidence could disappear in a single night. Jacob understood that, in this game, every question had to be considered as carefully as a move in a chess match where the prize was truth, and the cost could be his own life. Marcel Malone, known for his cold and reserved demeanor, felt the pressure mounting as Jacob started digging into the Kenny case. Guilt and fear warred inside Marcel. He had kept the secret for too long, but also understood that Bill Hamilton was not the kind to let anyone expose his weaknesses. Marcel stood at a crossroads: confess and free himself from the burden of guilt, or keep silent, remain under Bill's thumb, and risk losing everything if discovered as the weakest link in this dark chain. Meanwhile, Bill, with the mindset of someone who had run countless underground deals, would not allow anyone to disrupt the fragile balance he had painstakingly built. He watched Marcel's every move, ready to destroy any evidence or eliminate anyone threatening his safety, even a former close ally. Bill understood that power in Beyond the Gates belonged only to the one who held the most secrets and was willing to sacrifice anything, including old loyalties, to keep his position secure. In the following days, tension blanketed everyone. Leslie continued to play the victim, appearing in public with visible injuries and a mournful face, stirring a wave of sympathy among the easily moved. However, some people began to question the truth behind Leslie's story. Was she truly hurt by Nicole, or was this just part of a larger scheme Leslie had planned all along? Nicole, tormented by remorse and fear of consequences, faced pressure not only from her family but from within herself. Meanwhile, Ted, always seeking reconciliation, gradually realized that all his efforts were being exploited for other people's unpredictable schemes. Jacob pressed on with his investigation, narrowing the circle of suspects step by step, knowing that each advance toward the truth brought him closer to danger. He faced covert threats, distorted information, and unusual silences from those who appeared most innocent. Marcel Malone sank deeper into torment, unsure how much longer he could keep the secret before becoming the next victim. Bill, always in control, used every connection and influence to cover up his crimes, even considering shifting suspicion onto outsiders to protect himself. Amidst this complex tapestry of power, everyone was playing a dangerous game. Each had something to hide, each bore the fear of exposure, and each was willing to sacrifice others to protect what they wanted. Beyond the Gates was no longer a place of ordinary tales but a battlefield where every relationship, every shred of sympathy, even love, could become a weapon. Just one mistake could unravel all secrets, forcing even the mightiest to pay for their own ruthlessness. And when the storm passed, only those who knew how to survive, or those unafraid to get blood on their hands in pursuit of the ultimate truth, would remain.